mix the dance we know. Green and red like disco flow. Trading all day, don't let go. Cash that wave and let it show. Success is calling, don't be late. With Moji we calibrate. Stack that cash like we've got faith. In the market we'll create. Buy low, sell high, that's the creed. Day by day we feel the need. Victory is guaranteed when you follow Moji's lead.
Good morning, traders. Welcome to another trading session here with Moji. We're here trading TopStep today. As you can see on the screen, I'm already in a long off of the, what is this called? The TWA money zone. Sorry, I just lost the name of it there. So on the screen here, you're going to see a little different of a setup. We have at the very bottom of the trigger chart, you have the surge, which shows us volume at the current time. In the middle, you see what's called the probability oscillator. Right now it's red and I'm going against it, and this might actually go against me. That's okay, it's the first trade of the day, I'm bullish. And then on the trigger, on the candles, you see I have the pinpoint trigger system, I have the Gabby buttons, which is the buy and sell. I also have the algo version 2. So you're going to see a couple different lines here. I'll explain them in depth later. And right now, I'm seeing if this long will work before open. We have about, I don't know, a couple minutes before open. See if we can catch something along the way. And if you didn't catch it earlier today, we had some news on the tariff front. There's definitely a correlation between the word tariff and the markets. And let's just see a little bit of what happened this morning. Hold on a second. Let me see if I'm just checking up on the sound. But until I figure that out, you can see my long is still in play. Let's see what happens there. Let's go here. Let me just get here. Hold on. Let me just do this. Let's see. So what is everybody thinking today? How are they? There we go. That's what I needed. All right. Now let's try this again.
Again,
There we go. All right, we got the sound fixed.
on
Let's see if this long will stay. If not,
differences in views on fair
I may
trade.
have to cut this soon.
We informed them, I had a discussion that trade deficits are a result of three things. One, terms of trade. Two, currency. And then three, the United States fiscal position. We informed them.
So there was news that dropped earlier about the U.S. and China tariff
out of control
talks.
fiscal deficit that we inherited from the previous administration. Two, there was no discussion on currency. And one, it was on terms of trade. And on fentanyl, again, for the first time, there was engagement between two teams with detailed knowledge. And I think for the first time, the Chinese understood the magnitude of what is happening in the U.S. in 2018 in Buenos Aires. They did a good job of banning the actual fentanyl, but what we have seen is substantial interaction between bad Chinese actors and many North American drug dealers, especially Mexican cartels. Treasury has designated several of the Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We made that clear to the Chinese. They were
Okay, my
very
lungs up
receptive.
6 points.
As you may or may not know, the Chinese have very draconian measures
8.
for the sale of illicit narcotics.
See how much time is
in
left? About
China.
3 minutes left.
We have asked them
So
to
open.
be equally as draconian with the people who are poisoning Americans.
And let me make a point. Your question about what was the toughest part of the negotiation, I would submit it was actually, in the lead up to the negotiation, trying to repair the channels of communication that had atrophied under the last administration, where, our office, for example, the Office of the United States Trade Representative, had almost no substantive discussions with the Chinese side on trade. And although we have significant differences with the Chinese on trade and economics, and we have major complaints,
Yeah,
you
right.
have to discuss these complaints. You have to have a channel for discussions, and overcoming that was a substantial challenge. And a lot of work went into that over the past several weeks, so that by the time we got here, we were able to be very pragmatic with each other. And to be sure,
I don't like it. I'm going to be going to break even if I can get there.
The level of removal, the timing for implementation, managing each side's domestic politics, etc. And I won't go into too much detail, but I would say the toughest part was simply getting to a position where we could, in good faith, both sides work with each other. And once we did, we were able to do this in a couple of days. This is not the first time I've done trade negotiations with the Chinese, and sometimes it can take a very, very long time to overcome misunderstandings. We were able to do that effectively over the past few weeks, which enabled us to be very pragmatic and effective as we go.
And I think we leave with a very good mechanism to avoid the unfortunate escalations as we saw after April 2nd from happening again. What had been very unusual about the relationship was that
20 seconds to open.
President Trump, Party Chairman Xi, they have a good relationship, but the nature of what has happened since April 2nd could have been avoided if we had had this kind of mechanism in place, and I believe it is in place now.
Ooh, took it out. That's all right.
Today,
Not a problem.
a process that will move forward, and again, great mutual respect for our Chinese counterparts. I believe they showed us the same.
So you can see there, they lowered the tariffs on China to 30% for 90 days.
You're the trade secretary, so
And that's what the news
but I would say on the
is
front
really
end,
saying
there's been a lot
that
of
caused that
talk
big
about
pump last night. And let's see if New York wants to take it back.
the numbers, consumption
So I'll pause that for now. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Let's get some trading music on and let's get ready for some trading. All right, so you can see we have a nice sell button here from the Gabby buttons. Very nice indeed. Let's move this over so you can actually see it on screen. Beautiful sell button. You see the probability oscillator was red. Yes, I was going against it. I took a shot, I lost. Now let's see if what the market wants to do. Change this up a bit. There. Oh. There's a nice call up by the TWA Gabby buttons right there. Let's see if I can catch it on a rebound. That was very nice. Very nice. So let's see if the US wants to take back what happened overnight. Check out. Yeah, so I took off the pullback. So the pullback is off. I'm using the probability today. That's what you see on your screen. Why did I take it off? Simple. I just wanted to show a new indicator. I like personally. I like the probability oscillator. It just fits the way I trade. And I have the settings, I think the settings for it is at 70. This is one of my very simple setups. I just have the Algo V2 one gives me a stop. If you were on last week, I talked about the trailing stop loss that one of our indicators provide. This is it. So it's the, I know there's a lot of lines on here, right? But you see this one here. See how it's green here? And then it flipped to red? That's the trailing stop. And now it's right here where price retested and it's heading down again. Now let's see if I can get into this short at all. Let's wait for a new 15-minute candle. Then I'll see if I can get an entry. We have about 4 minutes left in this candle. Okay, new 15-minute. Is there any entry points here? This was it here. I know I was in this long, but that was the actual good. This was the best setup. Volume, that switched, this was it. For this particular price action that's happening right now. Now we're really considered cheap here. I would, if I'm looking long, I would look long again at around this area. Let's see what else is going on here. All right, you're there. You're here. Yeah, that'll be a good spot. If it's gonna stay trending long, let me move this to the 1. It's better. What is everybody else? Does everybody else have a bias? Looking long, looking short, not sure, trying to figure it all out? Or it was like me, was long, and then it flipped on you, now you gotta wait for another setup? So, oof, okay, yeah. So we can have the potential to move down. Okay, that's good to know. So right now I'll be looking short, right at this moment in time. Until something changes. Time to take a stab at a short. Well, I mean, while I'm waiting, I'll hear a little more on what happened with the news.
And so I think what we're going to see is that we're going to have our economy continue taking off as we put structure around these negotiations and get global trade into a better place.
And as I reiterated last week, the Trump economic plan is 3 pieces: trade, tax, and deregulation. Trade has been implemented first, and that process is occurring. We believe that the tax portion is going very well. Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune, who I am in constant contact with, believe that midsummer we will pass, as the president likes to call it, his one big beautiful bill, and we believe that that will provide substantial relief for American households. And then deregulation, a hidden and pernicious tax on American households, is regulation. We believe that the last administration added several $1,000s a year to American families' cost, and that we will be not only cutting those substantially, rolling that back, but cutting those substantially.
I think we have time for about maybe 2 or 3 more questions at most. Sir, name and outlook, please.
So on the charts, you see in the top, you see those gray bars? That's actually the TPO candle coloring. Right now they're gray. That's another probability indicator of direction. So I have two probability indicators of direction. One is the probability oscillator, it's in the name, and the other one's a TPO. And right now, the probability oscillator is telling you that
we have spent
it's
decades
bearish.
at the World Trade Organization in multilateral and bilateral negotiations, trying to get other countries to reduce their tariffs and non-tariff barriers to be more reciprocal with the U.S. We've had one of the most open economies for decades. The promise of the WTO and the multilateral system is that everyone was going to come down. It turns out the U.S. went down significantly. There were other economies that had low tariffs as well, but retained very high non-tariff barriers. We have tried really hard to work within the system, and the net result is a $1.2 trillion deficit in goods. The net result is manufacturing went to China, East Asia, Mexico, etc. So we tried all of that. So the idea that we can just keep saying, well, why don't we just talk a little bit more, we'll have a different outcome, I think just is totally detached from reality.
You know what he really wanted to say there. He was being very, very good choice of words. All right. Let's see what we have going on right now. All right, so this 15-minute candle is closing. Let's see if we can get some movement. Let's see if the bulls want to step in here, or are we heading to the 720s? Do the bulls want to step in around the 720s? Do they think that area is a good value for them to buy? Let's see. It's obvious that they think at the 8s and 9s we're not. So let's see if they think the 7s are good. Yeah, I like that there. Okay, so the IVD. Okay, so IVD, the background is red. However, the candles are what? They're showing bullish weakness. And let's see. Yikes, look at the algo candles are red. Bright red. I have those off screen. So every indicator I'm talking about, you have seen at one time or another. Just for this next couple of trading sessions, you're going to see this trigger chart here. I'll take a stab at another long. If I get a good trigger, I'll take a stab at it. I'm going in. See if this was a good trade or not. There we go, there we go. Come on. Let's see if this was what the bulls like, if they like this area. Wow. All right. Well, they told me no. They were like, get out of here. So that's 0 for 2 today. I got one more trade left in me. Maybe 2. Let's see. So just so you know, this is a combine that I have on live right now. I don't have my XFA on today yet. All right, so gotta wait till 10. No big deal. New context. Let's see what happens at 10. Let's see what's happening on live TV. Let's go here. Let's look at some Bloomberg television.
Companies that have to send billions and billions and billions in R&D, a lot of that and even more, as we're seeing with all the tariff announcements, is going to be spent in the U.S. So is America, to a degree, subsidizing the rest of the world in the higher drug prices that they pay? There's certainly an element of truth to that, but what causes that to harmonize? We've actually seen some European chief executives, such as the CEOs of Novartis and Sanofi, write published op-eds saying, hey, maybe Europe should start paying a little bit more. So it certainly feels like on both sides of the Atlantic that this issue is not going to go away.
Well, that's exactly where I wanted to go. The narrative that the U.S. pharma industry subsidizes the rest of the world, clearly that idea has currency in the...
So just so everybody knows, like those two longs, if I would have had a TP1 at 10 points, it would have hit. However, I stretched it out to 20, and they did not. So that's what happened there. All right, I see another opportunity to go long. Let's see. Nope. Okay, I'm gonna go long again. Let's see if this one can actually, let's be a little conservative on the TP, down to, let's go, see if we can get 50 points. Let's see if this is a 50-point run. Let's go, come on. Once it hits 20, I'll go move it to break even. Here we go. Here we go. All right, I'll pop this back up a little bit to here. Give it 70 points. Let's see if this is it. Let's see if they want to run here. We got a Gabby button, which is good. It's good news. It's a little more confidence. Okay, here we go. Look, we hit that 20-point mark. All right. So let's see. 20 points. Let's see if we can get a little more of a push here. Come on, NQ. All right. See how the stop loss just switched to. Okay, actually good. I don't mind that. Let's see here. I am early. I'm against the probability oscillator, but I like the context of where we are. Okay. Let me go here. Take 4 of them off here. I'm watching there we go. Still at that 20-point mark. Can't kind of beat it yet. I'll give it one more minute, and then I'm going to break even. Come on. Let's see if it wants to push past. This is a little bit of a sticking point right here. There we go. That's what we want to see. Come on, to get that TP. Ooh, we are so close to that TP. Let's see, 84. There it is. That's a 30-something point TP. We got a runner on now. I'm just going to get this to where price was before it fell. There we go. That's the power of these indicators here. And now you see here, you see this on this side. Let me make sure you can see it on screen. Yeah. So see, this is now where the stop loss can be. So I'm going to do that. So it's at 667. That's around where I am. So I can keep my stop loss there for my runner. And I am in good profit on this particular trade. And let's see how long we can hold this runner for. Right now I have it set at about a 150 point area. Oh, we got a buy sign too. That's very good. Let's see. Let's go to where? I got a level at the 900s. Nah, that's at 940. You know what? Let's make it. Let's go a little nuts. Let's make it for an even two. See if the Bulls want to bring this up to, what is that? 86. Yeah, let's see if it wants to bring it to London's high. Let's see. And if it rejects off of there and it wicks, that's fine. Because I will be moving my stop along with it. So, because I want to show, I love this one here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit since we're in a runner. You can see here, right now the stop loss is at 81. So I'm just going to move it up to 81. See, so now you just reduced more risk. That's such a good feeling. You could take risk off the table, and now you reduce your runner's risk. So if it does tag you out, which it might here, then you know what? The runner wasn't meant to run. Not out yet. It touched it by a tick. I think this time it's trying to... Wow. It was literally on the screen. It looked like it was a tick away. On the Dom, it was... I thought it went, but I guess it didn't trigger. Now it's going to tag us. Oh, not yet. It's still fighting. Uh-oh, okay. We got a Gabby sell button. Let's see if that stays or goes. Oh, this is drama. Just came like ticks away and it's still going after it. It's crazy. It's still, the trade's still alive, barely. Hanging on by a thread. Oh, it's gonna take it. No. It's like wrestling. He kicked out at 2. Hold on a second. The president is talking. Let's listen in.
Canceled. The deal was done. It was all ready to be signed, and people went over and they came back to me, sir, they don't want to sign the opening up China. Well, the biggest thing that we're discussing is the opening up China, and they've agreed to do that, but it's going to take a while to paper it. You know, that's not the easiest thing to paper. But that's the single, I think, to me, some people would disagree. Some people would say we're getting a lot of money with tariffs or whatever. But, you know, especially when you add what we already have. Because remember, we're already getting the 50% on steel and different things. That's not included in these numbers. So you can add that. But the biggest thing to me is the opening up. I think it would be fantastic for our businesses if we could go in and compete with China. It would be a lot of jobs for China. It would be, I think, at a time when they can frankly use the jobs. And that's what we're talking about. So that's a very, very important element to add. So when Scott, I watched him speak the other day, and I think he didn't want to say it, but I said, it's okay to say it. Look, if we don't get it, we don't get it. But if we don't get it, it won't be a positive thing. But if we do get it, I think it's maybe the most important thing to happen. Because if you think about it, we opened up our country to China. They have very few restrictions. And they didn't open their country to us. Never made sense to me. It's not fair. And they've agreed to open China, fully open China. And I think it's going to be fantastic for China. I think it's going to be fantastic for us. And I think it's going to be great for unification and peace. China will also suspend and remove all of its non-monetary barriers. They've agreed to do that. Well, they're very numerous. But again, to me, the biggest thing that came out of that meeting is they've agreed. Now we have to get it papered, but they've agreed to open up China. That'll be great for everybody. And third, I'm very happy to announce that Idan Alexander, an American citizen who, until recently, most thought was
okay. Now we're finally
no
out of the
longer
runner.
living, thought was dead, is going to be released in about 2 hours, actually, and he's going to be released before the eyes of Steve Witkoff, who has done a fantastic job. I just, you know, I know a lot of people that have a lot of talent. I know Steve, he had a lot of talent. But I know a lot of people with a lot of talent, but there's one that I thought had a special way about him, special personality. Aside from being a good deal maker, had a special way about him, and it was Steve. Knew very little about the subject matter, who does? But he learned it in about 2 hours. And he's been fantastic, so I want to just thank Steve. But they're going to be releasing Idan in about 2 hours from now, or sometime today, let's say. And again, they thought he was dead just a short while ago. His parents are so happy. They're so happy. So it's, as you know, Idan's the only American citizen who's captured and held hostage by Hamas since October 7th, 2023. And he's coming home to his parents, which is really great news. I mean, to me, it's big news. They thought he was dead. So that's that. So we'll be heading there, and we'll be seeing 3 primary countries. You know all about that: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. On Thursday's meeting with Russia and Ukraine is very important. I was very insistent that that meeting take place. I think good things can come out of that meeting. Stop the bloodshed of the horrible, it's a bloodbath. But that 5,000 more, it's really much more, trying to be conservative, more than 5,000 soldiers. Russian, they're not American soldiers, they're from Russia, they're from Ukraine, but they're people. They're human souls, and they're being killed at levels that we haven't seen since the Second World War. And it's every week. A lot of drone fighting. It's a whole new form of warfare, and it's violent and vicious. And so that's it. I'd like to go back to China just for a second. They're very heavy on the fentanyl. We're charging them, as you know, 20% for the fact that they send fentanyl into our country. and they've agreed that they're going to stop that, and you know they'll be rewarded by not having to pay you know, hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. So the fentanyl should stop. It comes from China. It's amazing, and comes through our southern border. It comes through our northern border too. It comes through Canada and comes through our southern border. Much more through the southern border. But so that's a very important subject to me, because everybody in this room has lost friends or people that have family members that have died of fentanyl. So there's a big incentive for China to stop, and I take them at their word. They're going to work on that, I think, very hard. And one thing, when they work on something, they get it done. So now I'm about to depart on a historic visit. Some of you are going with us to, as I said, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates. Before I do, I'll sign one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. I don't think there's ever been anything signed like this, certainly not with respect to healthcare, nothing even close. I'm delighted to be joined on this occasion by Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is doing a really good job, I have to tell you that. CMS Administrator, a friend of mine, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who is an amazing guy. You know, I was telling Bobby before, Oz had a very successful show, but it hurt his reputation. Because when you're in show business, it hurts your reputation a little bit. It's good for you, but in terms of professionalism and being a doctor, it sort of hurts your reputation. This guy went to the best schools, was the best, I mean, top of the line. Then he did a television show, became a success, made a lot of money, all that stuff, but it sort of hurt him. And you know who I compare that to? I hate to say this, but a special woman, Jeanine Pirro. She was the toughest, smartest DA, maybe in our countries, in our cities and states history, New York. She was really tough, really sharp. Then she did a show, and people didn't think of her quite the same way. She became more of an entertainment person, like Oz. Oz is not an entertainer. He's not really an entertainer. You know the real story, and she isn't either. She is unbelievable. She was one of the strongest district attorneys in the history of New York, highly respected, very tough, went after the drug dealers at a level that you don't see today anymore, and hopefully she's given up a tremendous, she's leaving the #1 show on cable television, one of the #1 shows on television.
Okay, so we get the point of that. We don't have to worry about who has a show going where or when or why. But you did hear the news, you know, that this news is the markets seem to be reacting to. I think I have another long up coming. I'm taking all longs today. The only thing is that TPO is red. All right, so I like the longs, but probability at this time is saying shorts. And if I go back and review my trades, I am 1 for 3. I'm still down on the day. Okay. But right now, because I hesitated, I have to wait. That's all. I like the longs though. The longs I'm considering the longs more today than the shorts. It's just depending upon if and when the U.S. sees good value for the bulls to buy in. So that triangle you see is from the Algo V2. That just means it's a proved. It's proving what price can and cannot do. Put it that way. It's a good indicator for if you're like, for example, if you would like to go long. It's another confidence builder. Right now. I just hesitated. That's all. ATR is 15. That's good. If you're bullish, that's good. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, so far in my trading, I haven't been able to hit those 100-point trades. I've gotten 20, 30, 50. But that 100-point trade is like, the runners aren't running for me. My TP1s has always been high, right? I even extended it to 20 points. You know, it's gone down a bit, but it's still pretty high. Meaning it's gone down from like 98% to 80-something%. So still a very high percentage. But the runners just have not, my personal runners, the way I trade, have not been able to run. Now don't get me wrong too. Like sometimes I do. I used to just put the take profit right at 100 points. I have been starting to move it, and every time I move it, I think something changes with me mentally, because I think I trail the trade differently when I move it. I'm going to take data on that to see if it's if what I'm saying is actually happening. Let's see, what are we looking at here? Yeah, I like the longs. The longs don't like me back though. They like me for a little bit and then they just drop me like a bad habit. Anybody else? In a trade, try a trade. Today's probably going to be like a power hour. Yeah, I got no triggers there. That was the best one right here. just gotta wait. Congratulations to anyone who took the longs. However, if we can't get above this area, that's interesting to see. Let me check this. Ooh, okay. Okay. That's nice. Let's go here. Alright, this will be a good entry spot. TPO's turned off. What's the volume looking like? It's alright. To the top, nope. I'll wait for a little bit of a pullback before trying to enter. Nice little pullback, come on. Give me a nice spot to enter, to get up, get on the train. I had one, it took me out. The first one was before open. The second one was a little after open. The third one worked, just took me out. And if I can get one in the next 15 minutes, I'll do one on the live stream. I know what this is going to be. This is going to be one of those days where you just keep floating and floating and floating. So we should see that probably the oscillators start to change soon. Okay, that's good. All right, so we had a pretty. If you traded overnight, you were definitely getting some great volatility off of the news. So just to recap, we had presidential and news today. One was the talks between the U.S. and China over the tariffs. Could be coming to a deal. And I think they did a temporary slashing to... I think it was 30% for the next 90 days while they iron things out. Then you also had the president signing the pharmaceutical executive order sometime today. So, but I think the talks with China overnight propelled the markets, and now we might be establishing a range right now because of just how much they pumped overnight. In my opinion, this is all my opinion. So once we establish the range, and then we'll figure out where the bears or the bulls want to jump into the game. We will see. Now let's see. Well, I'll be interested to see the next couple of days because we do have news this week. I think we have CPI tomorrow. With CPI tomorrow, will that volatility be one where it propels us further in a bullish direction, or will it be news that pushes us back to basically where we started, and then we climb back up for another leg? Let's see. And we have earnings this week. You could catch all these earnings and everything on the TWA Discord, the TWA Discord, where one of our awesome traders, Cloud, he posts news weekly on what's happening, and he's a very trusted source, and he can tell you exactly what's happening, where, when, sometimes why. So this is a little pullback here. See that line underneath price? Hold on, let me just move this over a bit. It's turning red. That's the evidence line here. One of the evidence lines here. The other one's up there. So 30-second, 15-second. Starting to turn red. That's good. That's healthy. Let's see if it comes back to the money zone, stays within the money zone, and gives us another opportunity to enter in long. Or if you're a bear, right? You know, price could not get above and stay above the 830s area. What does that mean to you? We have a sell button. Oh, that's a good short signal. That's a really good short signal. You see the probability oscillator, the two lines above and below are still red, so that means the shorts are still in. You know what? Stop talking about it. Let me take one. Why not? See what happens. So far up 8 points, 9 points. I'm going to do a limit here. Let's see if this has any traction. Nine, 10, 9 points. 7. You go 12. Here we go. Let's see, so it's 10 points right there. I got 16. 800. Wow, we're dropping like a rock. Holy cow. I'm gonna take some profit off of this here. Let's go. Give me some of that. Get me to. No. Come on. There's a sell button. Let's see. Let's see. 20, almost 20 points. Can we get there? Yikes. That's a giant pushback. Not surprised. Not surprised. Not very surprising, but I'm gonna. Let's see. TPOs are red again. Get out of That's a user error on my part. I went to press the button, but it didn't click. All right, click off, whatever. That's done. I tried. So again, it would have hit my TP1 if I would have put it at 10 points. Did not. No big deal. But with that, I am going to end the stream a bit early today because I have other work I need to get to today. So yeah, rough day on the stream so far. Only 1 for 4. I'm gonna stop trading this combine today. Right now, a red day. If I see anything later on, I'll take it and I'll post it in the Discord. Till then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you like what you saw on the indicators. And tomorrow will be more of a regular stream session. You know, just I got a lot of meetings today, so I got to get to. Till then, thank you everybody for watching. Remember, trade smart, preserve your capital, and I'll see everybody on the stream tomorrow. Take care.